Did you know this about world's top 20 highest mountains? At number 20 on the world's highest mountains list is Ngadi Chuli, also known as the Gurkha Massif, in Nepal. It has an elevation of 7,871 meters, or 25,823 feet above sea level. Ngadi Chuli is located in the Mansiri Himal range in Nepal, near the famous Manaslu, the 8th highest mountain in the world. The first confirmed ascent was in 1979 by the Polish climbers Ryszard Gajewski and Maciej Pawlikowski via the West Buttress. Ngadi Chuli is known for its steep and challenging terrain, making it one of the more difficult 7,000-meter peaks to climb. Despite its height and proximity to such a well-known peak like Manaslu, it has seen very few successful ascents due to the technical difficulties and harsh conditions. At number 19 on the world's highest mountains list is Distagil Sar. Standing 7,885 meters or 25,869 feet tall in Hispa Mustaq range of the Karakoram in Pakistan. Distagil Sar's first summit came on June 9, 1960, by Günther Stärke, Dieter Marchart, and Wolfgang Stephan. Its isolation and the technical difficulty of climbing have made it one of the least attempted peaks over 7,800 meters, despite its impressive height. Distagil Sar has 3 distinct summits: west, central, and northeast. The highest point, the west summit, was first climbed in 1960, while the other summits remain even less explored. At number 18 on the world's highest mountains list is Himal Chuli. With a height of 7,893 meters or 25,896 feet, it is located in the Mansiri Himal range in Nepal. Its first ascent was made on May 24, 1960 by Hisashi Tanabe and Masahiro Harada of Japan. It lies south of Manaslu, one of the 8,000ers. Himal Chuli has 3 main peaks: east, 7,893 meters, west, 7,540 meters, and north, 7,371 meters. Himal Chuli is also notable for its large vertical relief over local terrain. For example, it rises 7,000 meters over the Marsyangdi River to the southwest in about 27 kilometers horizontal distance. Gasherbrum 4 is the 17th highest mountain on Earth. It is also known as K3. With a height of 7,932 meters or 26,024 feet, Gasherbrum 4 is located in the Baltoro Muzdar, Karakoram range in Pakistan. Its first ascent was in 1958 by Walter Bonatti and Carlo Mauri on an Italian expedition led by Riccardo Cassin via the northeast ridge and the north summit. Gasherbrum 4 is known for its striking pyramid shape. When translated from Balti language, its name means beautiful mountain. Despite its lower height relative to the surrounding 8,000ers, Gasherbrum 4 is a venerated challenge among mountaineers. Annapurna 2 is the 16th highest mountain in the world and the highest ultra-prominent peak on Earth, under 8,000 meters. Standing 7,937 meters or 26,040 feet tall, it is located in Annapurna range of Nepal. On May 17, 1960, it was summited first time ever by Richard Grant, Chris Bonington, and Sherpa Ang Nyima. Annapurna 2 is the second highest mountain and the eastern anchor of the Annapurna Massif, which includes Annapurna 1. Annapurna 2 is notable for its large avalanches, rockfall, large ice overhangs, and frequent storms. These dangers have limited the scope of mountaineering expeditions, making it less frequently climbed than Annapurna 1. Gyachungkang is the 15th highest peak in the world. With an elevation of 7,952 meters or 26,089 feet, it is located on the border of Nepal and China in the Mahalangur Himal section of the Himalayas. The mountain was first climbed on April 10, 1964, by Y. Kato, K. Sakaizawa, and Pasang Futa from Japan. Gyachungkang is the highest peak that is not one of the 14 8,000-meter peaks. It is also the co-highest peak with Gasherbrum III that is not an 8,000er. Gyachungkang is the highest peak between Cho Oyu, 8,201 meters, and Mount Everest, 8,848 meters, and is often overshadowed by its neighboring giants. Shishapangma is the 14th highest mountain in the world. With an elevation of 8,027 meters or 26,335 feet above sea level, Shishapangma is located in south-central Tibet in the Jugul Himal range of Himalayas. Shishapangma was first climbed via the northern route on 2 May 1964 by a Chinese expedition led by Xu Jing and 9 other team members. It is the only 8,000-meter peak located entirely within China. Shishapangma also has a subsidiary peak higher than 8,000 meters, known as Central Peak, with height of 8,008 meters or 26,273 feet. 31 people have died climbing Shishapangma, but still it is considered one of the easiest 8,000ers to climb. At number 13 on the list of highest mountains in the world is Gasherbrum II, also known as K4. With an elevation of 8,035 meters or 26,362 feet above sea level, it is the third highest peak of the Gasherbrum Massif and is located in the Karakoram, on the border between Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan, and Xinjiang, China. The mountain was first climbed on July 7, 1956, by an Austrian expedition which included Fritz Moravec, Joseph Larch, and Hans Willenpart. Gasherbrum II is often considered the most accessible of the Karakoram 8,000-meter peaks. It has a relatively low fatality rate compared to other 8,000-meter peaks. On July 19, 2023, Andrzej Bargiel made the highest descent from Gasherbrum II on skis. Broad Peak is the 12th highest mountain in the world, with an elevation of 8,051 meters or 26,414 feet above sea level. It is located in the Karakoram range, spanning Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan, and Xinjiang, China. The first ascent of this mountain was in June 1957. Accomplished by Fritz Wintersteller, Markus Schmuck, Kurt Diemberger, and Hermann Buhl as part of an Austrian expedition. Broad Peak is part of the Gasherbrum Massif in Baltistan, situated on the border of Pakistan and China, approximately 8 kilometers from K2. The peak's name aptly describes its physical characteristics, with a summit that extends over 1.5 kilometers in length, giving it the appearance of a broad peak. 3 of the mountain's 5 summits are 8,000ers. Gasherbrum I is the 11th highest mountain in the world, at an elevation of 8,080 meters or 26,510 feet above sea level. It is located between Shigar district in the Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan and Tashkurgan in the Xinjiang of China. Gasherbrum I is part of the Gasherbrum Massif, located in the Karakoram region of the Himalaya. The peak was first climbed on 5 July 1958 by an American team of 8 members, led by Nicholas Clinch, including 2 Pakistani Army officers, Captain Muhammad Akram and Captain S.T.H. Rizvi, via Roch Ridge. Gasherbrum I is known as K5 meaning the fifth peak of the Karakoram. It is also known as Hidden Peak, in reference to its extreme remoteness. At number 10 in the list of highest mountains in the world is Annapurna 1, standing 8,091 meters or 26,545 feet tall above sea level. Annapurna 1 is situated in the Annapurna mountain range of Gandaki province, north-central Nepal. Maurice Herzog led a 9-member French expedition team to its summit through the North Face on 3 June 1950, making it the first 8,000er ever to be successfully climbed. Along with K2 and Nanga Parbat, Annapurna 1 has consistently ranked as one of the most dangerous of the principal 8,000er summits. For decades, Annapurna 1 held the highest fatality-to-summit rate. It has, however, seen great climbing successes in recent years, with the fatality rate falling from 32% to under 20%. Nanga Parbat is the 9th highest mountain on Earth, and its summit is at 8,126 meters or 26,660 feet above sea level. Nanga Parbat forms the western anchor of the Himalayan range and is the westernmost 8,000er. It lies just south of the Indus River in the Daima district of Gilgit-Baltistan, in Karakoram range of Pakistan. The name Nanga Parbat is derived from the Sanskrit words Nagna and Parvata, which, when combined, translates to naked mountain. The name refers to the south face, which is usually snowless. Nanga Parbat was first climbed via the Rakiot flank, East Ridge, on 3 July 1953 by Austrian climber Hermann Buhl on the German-Austrian Nanga Parbat expedition. The ascent was made without oxygen, and Buhl is the only man to have made the first ascent of an 8,000-meter peak alone. Nanga Parbat was first successfully climbed in winter on February 26, 2016, by a team consisting of Ali Sadpara, Alex Chicon, and Simone Moro. Nanga Parbat has tremendous vertical relief over local terrain in all directions. To the south, Nanga Parbat has what is often referred to as the highest mountain face in the world. The Rupal face rises 4,600 meters or 15,090 feet above its base. Nanga Parbat is one of only 2 peaks on Earth that rank in the top 20 of both the highest mountains in the world and the most prominent peaks in the world, ranking 9th and 14th, respectively. Nanga Parbat is notorious for being an extremely difficult climb and has earned the nickname Killer Mountain for its high number of climber fatalities and pushing climbers to the test of their limits. Manaslu is the 8th highest mountain in the world, with an elevation of 8,163 meters or 26,781 feet above sea level. It is located in the Mansiri Himal, part of the Nepalese Himalayas, in west-central Nepal. In 1956, Toshio Imanishi, Japan, and Gyaltsen Norbu, Sherpa, made the first ascent of Manaslu on May 9, 1956. The Japanese expedition was led by Maki Yuko, also known as Aritsune Maki. Manaslu means mountain of the spirit, and the word is derived from the Sanskrit word manasa, meaning intellect or soul. Apart from climbing Manaslu, trekking is popular in this mountain region as part of the Manaslu Circuit, a notable path for trekkers in Nepal. At number 7 on the list of highest mountains in the world is Dhaulagiri 1 with an elevation of 8,167 meters or 26,795 feet above sea level. It is located in Nepal, in the Dhaulagiri Massif, and is the highest mountain within the borders of a single country. It was first climbed on the 13th of May 1960 by a Swiss-Austrian-Nepali expedition team of 7 members led by Max Iserlin. Dhaulagiri 1 was the penultimate 8,000er to be summited, and the final in Nepal. Annapurna 1 is 34 kilometers east of Dhaulagiri 1. The Kali Gandaki River flows between the two in the Kaligandaki Gorge. Dhaulagiri means white mountain in Sanskrit. It was once thought to be the highest mountain in the world. Cho Oyu is the sixth highest mountain in the world at an elevation of 8,188 meters or 26,864 feet above sea level. The mountain stands on the China-Nepal border between the Tibet Autonomous Region and Koshi Province. It is the westernmost major peak of the Khumbu subsection of the Mahalangur Himalaya, 20 kilometers west of Mount Everest. Cho Oyu was first climbed on the 19th of October, 1954, via the Northwest Ridge by Herbert Tichy, Joseph Juckler, and Sherpa Pasang Dawa Lama of an Austrian expedition. Its name means turquoise goddess. Cho Oyu is considered the easiest 8,000er to climb, with the lowest death summit ratio, 1/25 of Annapurna's. It is the second most climbed 8,000er after Mount Everest. Makalu is the fifth highest mountain on Earth, with a summit at an elevation of 8,485 meters or 27,838 feet above sea level. It is located in the Mahalangur Himalayas, 19 kilometers southeast of Mount Everest on the China-Nepal border. Makalu is an isolated peak known for its perfect pyramid shape with 4 sharp ridges. Makalu was first summited on May 15, 1955, by Lionel Terray and Jean Cousy of a French expedition led by Jean Franco. The French team climbed Makalu by the north face and northeast ridge via the saddle between Makalu and Kangchungse, the Makalu La, establishing the standard route. In 2022, Adrian Ballinger made the first ski descent. Lhotse is at number 4 on the world's highest mountains list at an elevation of 8,516 meters or 27,940 feet above sea level. Its main summit is on the border between Tibet Autonomous Region of China and the Khumbu region of Nepal. With Everest to the north and Nuptse to the west, Lhotse forms the apex of the massive horseshoe-shaped arc of the Everest Massif. Lhotse is connected to Everest via the South Col. Lhotse was first climbed on 18 May 1956 by the Swiss team of Ernst Reis and Fritz Luxinger, members of the Swiss Mount Everest Lhotse expedition. Its name means South Peak in Tibetan. The Lhotse face, a steep wall of glacial ice, is one of the most challenging sections for climbers on the way to Everest. Kangchenjunga is the third highest mountain in the world. Its summit lies at 8,586 meters or 28,169 feet above sea level. It lies in the border region between Koshi Province of Nepal and Sikkim State of India. The Kangchenjunga is a sacred mountain in Nepal and Sikkim and was first climbed on 25 May 1955 by Joe Brown and George Band, who were part of the 1955 British Kangchenjunga expedition. Locals believe that the summit is sacred, and climbers often stop short of the top out of respect. The name Kangchenjunga means the 5 treasures of snows, referring to its 5 peaks. Because of its remote location in Nepal and the difficulty involved in accessing it from India, the Kangchenjunga region is not much explored by trekkers. K2 is the second highest mountain in the world. Its summit lies at 8,611 meters or 28,251 feet above sea level. It lies in the Karakoram range, partially in the Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan, and partially in the China-administered Trans-Karakoram Tract in the Tashkurgan Tajik Autonomous County of Xinjiang. K2 is also known as Chogori and occasionally known as Mount Godwin Austen. Some other nicknames for K2 are the King of Mountains and the Mountaineers Mountain, as well as the Mountain of Mountains. K2 became known as the Savage Mountain after George Bell, a climber on the 1953 American expedition, said, "It's a savage mountain that tries to kill you." Of the 5 highest mountains in the world, K2 has long been the deadliest. Prior to 2021, approximately 1 person had died on the mountain for every 4 who reached the summit. After an increase in successful attempts, as of August 2023, an estimated 800 people have summited K2, with 96 deaths during attempted climbs. Although the summit of Everest is at a higher altitude, K2 is a more difficult and dangerous climb, due in part to its more northern location, where inclement weather is more common. The summit of K2 was reached for the first time by the Italian climbers Lino Lacedelli and Achille Compagnoni on the 1954 Italian expedition led by Ardito Desio. In January 2021, K2 became the final 8,000er to be summited in the winter by a team of Nepalese climbers led by Nirmal Purja and Mingma Gyalja Sherpa. K2 has been climbed by almost all of its ridges, apart from its eastern face, which remains unclimbed. K2 is ranked 22nd by topographic prominence, a measure of a mountain's independent stature. K2 is notable for its local relief as well as its total height. It stands over 3,000 meters above, much of the glacial valley bottoms at its base. A 1986 expedition led by George Wallerstein made an inaccurate measurement showing that K2 was taller than Mount Everest and therefore the tallest mountain on Earth. A corrected measurement was made in 1987. Mount Everest is Earth's highest mountain, with an elevation of 8,848 meters or 29,029 feet above sea level. It is located in the Mahalangur Himal sub-range of the Himalayas. The China-Nepal border runs across its summit point. Mount Everest's Nepali name is Sagarmatha, which means the head in the great blue sky, being derived from Sagar, meaning sky, and Matha, meaning head. The Tibetan name for Everest is Komalangma, is also popularly romanized as Chomolungma. Mount Everest was named after British surveyor Sir George Everest, the Surveyor General of India. Everest himself opposed the honor, but despite Everest's objections, the Royal Geographical Society officially adopted the name Mount Everest in 1865. On 29 May 1953, the New Zealander Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, a Nepali Sherpa climber, reached the summit of Mount Everest for the first time ever. They were part of the 9th British expedition, led by John Hunt. There are 2 main climbing routes, one approaching the summit from the southeast in Nepal, known as the Standard Route, and the other from the north in Tibet. While not posing substantial technical climbing challenges on the Standard Route, Everest presents dangers such as altitude sickness, weather, and wind, as well as hazards from avalanches and the Khumbu icefall. As of May 2024, 340 people have died on Everest. Over 200 bodies remain on the mountain and have not been removed due to the dangerous conditions. Everest remained a difficult climb for decades, even for serious attempts by professional climbers and large national expeditions, which were the norm until the commercial era began in the 1990s. Despite the effort and attention poured into expeditions, only about 200 people had summited by 1987. By March 2012, Everest had been climbed 5,656 times with 223 deaths. By 2013, the Himalayan database recorded 6,871 summits by 4,042 different people. The base camp for Everest expeditions based out of Nepal is located by Khumbu Glacier, which is rapidly thinning and destabilizing due to climate change, making it unsafe for climbers. This brings us to the end of today's video. For more such informative videos, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Don't forget to like and share.